This paper introduces a novel approach to environmental, social, and governance (ESG) scoring by integrating natural language processing (NLP) techniques with item response theory (IRT), specifically the Rasch model. The study utilizes a comprehensive dataset of news articles in Portuguese related to Petrobras, a major oil company in Brazil, collected from 2022 and 2023. The data is filtered and classified for ESG-related sentiments using advanced NLP methods. The Rasch model is then applied to evaluate the psychometric properties of these ESG measures, providing a nuanced assessment of ESG sentiment trends over time. The methodology leverages labeled text data to enhance the estimation of the ESG construct. Advanced NLP techniques are employed to extract meaningful information from these textual sources. Incorporating IRT into the methodology provides a robust framework for assessing the psychometric properties of ESG constructs. The Rasch model is used to evaluate the consistency and reliability of ESG measures derived from textual data. The dataset was organized by concatenating data from all months, with each month treated as an individual item to be evaluated by the Rasch model. The dataset was cleaned using BERT for the Portuguese language to apply embeddings and similarity algorithms with ESG definitions. This process filtered relevant and irrelevant news articles, retaining only those pertinent to one of the ESG dimensions. The final dataset considered 3,653 news for 2022 and 4,401 news for 2023. The dataset was processed using embeddings and similarity algorithms to classify a sample of 365 cases, or 10% of 2022 news articles data, as positive or negative. A Portuguese BERT classification model, trained and fine-tuned on this data sample, determined the sentiment of news articles regarding ESG dimensions on the whole dataset of 2022 and 2023. The research paper discusses the development of a novel approach to evaluate the environmental, social, and governance (ESG) performance of companies using natural language processing techniques. The authors propose a method that leverages news articles to assess ESG dimensions, providing insights into positive and negative aspects of a company's sustainability practices. The paper begins by defining the ESG dimensions and their respective positive and negative indicators. The authors then describe the creation of a dichotomous dataset where each row represents the sentiment of news articles, positive or negative, and each column represents a month of the year 2022 and 2023. They apply the Rasch psychometric model to obtain the psychometric characteristics of the ESG construct. The training dataset consists of a sample of news from 2022, and the authors use a pre-trained BER Timbau base model for feature extraction and a custom classifier for classification. The training process involves two stages. The first stage only trains the classifier, and the second stage fine-tunes the entire model. The results are logged in a CSV file, including various metrics that are further analyzed to determine the best model. The paper also outlines the steps for the training process, including function definition and initialization, loading pre-trained models and tokenizers, defining classification layers and optimizers, and training the model. The authors test 729 combinations of parameter values and analyze the metrics to define the best model to be used. The development of a custom classifier for text classification tasks utilizing pre-trained language models like BER Timbau base is presented. The classifier was trained in two stages. First, by freezing the model and training only the custom classifier to adapt it to the specific classification task. And second, by unfreezing the model for fine-tuning to further adapt the entire model for the task at hand. The training process involved tokenizing the news text, splitting the data into training and validation sets, and defining data loaders for batch-wise processing. The validation process computed metrics such as accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, and AUCROC for each class. The results were collected and saved, with the trained classifier being evaluated using the validation data. The evaluation metrics calculated during the fine-tuning process were used to implement a normalization function that normalized the values using a weighted approach. The paper also employed the technique for order of preference by similarity to ideal solution, TOPSIS, scores for ranking and structured the dichotomous dataset for a comprehensive temporal analysis of sentiment trends across the specified period using the Rasch model, a specific form of item response theory, IRT. This analysis helped understand how different periods contributed to the overall ESG sentiment, enabling a detailed assessment of its psychometric characteristics. The application of item response theory, IRT, to environmental, social, and governance, ESG, measurement is discussed, where the latent trait measured is sentiment level regarding ESG news. The item difficulty parameter is redefined as the difficulty of achieving positive news during a particular month. The analysis presents each month's item information curves, IIC, and item characteristic curves, ICC, providing insights into the temporal trends in ESG sentiment. The results of a machine learning model used to classify ESG news as positive or negative are also presented, achieving a 97.37% accuracy in identifying positive ESG news. The study explores the potential of using item response theory, IRT, specifically the Rasch model, to analyze environmental, social, and governance, ESG, sentiment data. Applying the Rasch model in this context may enhance the measurement methods of this construct. One of the main advantages of using the Rasch model is its ability to provide a more precise measurement of ESG sentiment. By accounting for both item difficulty, in this case, variability in sentiment across different months, and respondent ability, in this case, the Brazilian company Petrobras, the model places all data on an interval scale. This not only facilitates more accurate comparisons over time but also ensures that these comparisons are independent of the specific sample used. The Rasch model's capacity to handle variability in item characteristics allows for a nuanced understanding of how different months contribute to the overall ESG sentiment. This is particularly valuable for organizations aiming to track sentiment trends related to ESG topics, as it can identify periods of heightened scrutiny or significant sentiment shifts. The use of item information curves, IICs, and item characteristic curves, ICCs, in the Rasch model provides additional insight into the informativeness of each month. This helps in identifying which time periods offer the most significant data for assessing ESG sentiment, thereby guiding more targeted analyses and strategic responses. The precision and reliability of the Rasch model may contribute to ESG accountability calculations. By providing accurate and consistent sentiment scores, the model enhances transparency and comparability across different periods and among various organizations. This is important for stakeholders, including investors and regulators, who rely on clear and credible ESG reporting. The model's ability to identify key periods and provide objective criteria for performance measurement allows for more strategic planning and targeted interventions. The findings also highlight the potential for integrating the Rasch model's output with other ESG metrics and qualitative data already used on the study area. This integration can provide a comprehensive view of ESG performance, supporting a balanced scorecard approach. Future studies could further explore and refine the application of the Rasch model in ESG sentiment analysis. One potential area for advancement is the integration of more diverse data sources, such as social media sentiment, stakeholder surveys, and financial performance metrics, to enrich the analysis and provide a more comprehensive view of ESG performance. The provided pages present a comprehensive overview of various research studies and methodologies related to the importance of environmental, social, and governance (ESG) factors in corporate credit rating. The authors have compiled an extensive list of references that delve into different aspects such as building evaluation scales using item response theory, corporate credit rating feature importance, and the role of ESG in long-term shareholder value creation.